Okay. Good evening, saints. This is Prophet Roe Nabi, family prophet to the angel of the church, to the Laodiceans, to the 12 tribes of Israel that are scattered all over the world, whether they know they're Israelites or not, whether they accept they're Israelites or not. What I'm about to address is for those. And it also is a warning to all of our enemies scattered all over the world. What I like to talk about today is methods of economic warfare that we aid our enemies in containing us. Yes, economic warfare that we aid our enemies. In a great degree, we are the foundation, the pillar, and the truth. What's going on, JLH Shalom? We are the foundation and pillar of why our enemies have so much power over us. I'm reading a book that I ordered not too long ago, came in because I wanted to learn about I'm very I'm very intrigued about the history of our people coming out of slavery, being captives here, and our relationship to the banking arm of the government. Yes. Believe it or not, banking is the fourth pillar of government. Okay. I know we got legislative, executive, and judicial, but guess what else we got? We got banking. Oh, and yes, there's one after banking as well. It's called media. Oh, you didn't know I was going to go there, did you? So we have the judicial, legislative, executive, banking, and we have the media. These are five arms that are strangling us. And we, as a people, are in submission to these institutions. Hey, what's going on, CG? Good to see you, brother. KSHH, Shalom. What's going on? I don't think I've seen you before, but in any case, welcome. So, I'm reading a book. The name of the book, I put it in the description. It's called Freedom, Philanthropy, and Fraud. Okay. This book is actually a thesis that a a doctor wrote to get his PhD, and they put it in the form of a book out of Harding Foundation, uh, Midwest State University. So this book is actually, hey, Nita Israel, what's going on? Shalom, shalom. But Nita Israel, if it's been a while since you visited the channel, you've been missing a lot of good eating. You've been missing a lot of good meals. So if that's what you mean, don't forget to go and visit the archive. Most High's been revealing some really good stuff, some pertinent stuff, not the same old fond of stale but necessary stuff you just hear our people talk about, but something unique. Yeah, something unique. Meat in due season. Meat in due season. Not the same old, warm up microwave meals. It's nothing wrong with microwave meals. It's nothing wrong with reheat meals. It's nothing wrong with leftovers. However, it's nice to have a nice little fresh meal cooked from scratch. Okay, I know this because my mama was an expert in cooking. Okay, I just want to let you know. I have nothing against leftovers. I don't have nothing against reheated meals. I don't have nothing against that. However, I want a nice fresh cooked meal from scratch. I don't want nothing out of a box. I don't want nothing out of a can. I don't want nothing out of a jar. Yeah. I want the cook to put some sweat equity into it. Now I know they don't make women like my mama no more. I know that. I get it. I get it. They don't make women like that no more. Everything's gonna be out of a box, a can, or a jar. Okay. I get it. I understand. I understand. However, however, I want to see somebody in there grinding up some tomatoes and making their own tomato paste. Oh, see, we don't know nothing about that. We don't know nothing about that. Putting onions in it, chopping up onions and chopping up garlic and basil and yeah, yeah, we don't know nothing about that nowadays. They don't make them like that no more. A good woman today, a good woman today is a woman that could open up a can of beans. That's a good woman today. That's a God-fearing woman today. That's a Proverbs 31 woman today. That's how far the standard has dropped. A good woman today, a good Proverbs 31 woman today is a woman that can open up some Twinkies and deep fry them. That yeah, I'm not messing with the women. I'm not messing with the women. I'm not messing with the women because the reason why the women are able to get away with this and become virtuous women, just opening up a can of sardines, is because the men have fallen too. Yeah, that's an indicator of how far the men have fallen. So don't think that this thing is happening in an echo chamber with the women and it's not affecting the men and it's not indicative of the type of men that we have today, you know, because you're gonna have these kids, these these millennials and Generation Xers, and they're gonna be when they get older in their 60s and 70s. Guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna be reminiscing about how good their mama cooked, and the stuff that they're gonna be remembering is when their mama opened up a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese. Hmm. And they're gonna be like, "Wow, my mother really could cook from scratch." They're gonna call that from scratch. Yeah, that's what they're gonna call from scratch. When mama used to open up some Kraft macaroni and cheese and some ramen noodles, and she used to cook them and put them in the microwave, and she used to season them, and we're gonna be like, and they're gonna be like, wow, my mother really knew how to cook from scratch. But guess what it's gonna be? Ramen noodles in the microwave. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying. So if you have women that's going to raise up children that's going to give praise and honor to them for cooking a package of ramen noodles top ramen noodles in the microwave, what kind of men are these going to be? Huh? What is the standard of womanhood in the minds of these type of men really going to be? For real, for real. Uh, in my family, you have to grow this stuff yourself first and then cook it. Everything is fresh. Well, you're definitely the exception to the rule. You're definitely the anomaly. But this is true about today's society. Exactly. I mean, when these kids today that are growing up today, when they get in their 60s and 70s, they're gonna call their mother a good mother and a good house mother because why? She used to pull up to the Wendy's drive-through window and order a number six with some fries and a small Coke. And they'd be like, wow, my mother was really virtuous. Because like uh KSH just said, they grew everything fresh. You see? They grew everything fresh. Y'all know how far we have gotten away from growing things fresh? Y'all, we're so long away. We're so far removed from growing things fresh with fresh ingredients from the yard. Oh, please. Nobody even knows about that. No, when people think about that, they think about slavery. Even if they cooking the meal for their own family, they're like, no, we don't need to do that. Just go to, you know, please. So there has always been a gradual erosion of family structure. Now, that's not really what I'm on here tonight to talk about. I kind of like drifted into that direction. We're going to get to the topic though. You know, a virtuous. And let me throw this in here. A virtuous grandmother. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. I remember when I was 14 years old. I remember when I was 14 years old, and I went to live with my great grandmother. She had chickens in the yard. And I remember at one time when I was probably about 5 or 6, they had hogs in the yard. And I think I vaguely remember a cow. But guess what? Everything was fresh. They had peach trees, pears trees. And guess what? They ate everything, mostly everything out the yard, y'all. Out the yard. They would trade and barter with other black people who grew other stuff that they didn't have. It wasn't really no real big thing about going to the store. And I'm talking about, y'all, I'm only 50 years old. I'm only 50 years old. So I can remember a time, and I'm really glad. I praise the Most High so much. I had this experience with my great grandmother. Man, she used to go out there and get pears off the tree, dice them up, put them in a pillowcase, lay them in the sun, dehydrate them in the sun. And then after they got all dry, she make a pie. Oh boy, I'm preaching now. Now I'm preaching. Oh boy, I'm preaching. What's going on? Mercy, mercy. Shalom. My great grandmother used to go out there and get some sweet potatoes out the yard, cut them up, get some butter, and yes, it was organic butter. It wasn't store-bought butter. It was some thick, rich, tasty butter. And she put sugar on them, butter in them, load them up with butter, and boy, bake them things. Oh my goodness. Oh my, I was ready to die. Ooh. When I ate those sweet potatoes, I said, man, there is a God. There is a God. There is a God, and he loves us. I could tell by the way these sweet potatoes taste. Ah, but anyway, you're welcome. I'm getting carried away, but I just want to know our concept of what a virtuous man and a virtuous woman is eroding. The bar is being lowered with every succeeding generation. But think, I really do, I really do think that there is, mm, I really do believe that there's going to be a sea change, and I believe it's even in happening already of what a virtuous man and a virtuous woman is. I believe a sea change is going to happen. I think the bar has been lowered so much on what it has become that it's going to awaken the remnant, and they're going to start striving to grow their own food. They're going to strive to get out of debt. They're going to strive to pool their resources within their family first before they try to do it with the rest of the nation. Uh, that's one of the problems that I've always had with this Black economic empowerment garbage, because they always talk about Black economic empowerment, but they don't talk about it in the in the rubric of family structure. They don't talk about it in within the confines of husband and wife, father, mother, and children. You see, you're not going to have real economic empowerment if you don't have it in families. Just stop. Go sit down somewhere. And let me say this: if you are single and you don't have any children, you're not going to have no real economic empowerment if you are not uh uh merging your resources with a family that is cohesively working together and they're worshiping the Most High. You're not going to have it. And before I get on tonight's topic, before I get in tonight's topic, let me do a preamble. Let me give a preamble by saying this. All this talk about reparation, I'm going to tell you something. I don't like the fact that it's being called reparation. Maybe that's a gray herring. Maybe maybe I am indulging in hair splitting. Maybe I'm being too analytical. Okay, let that be as it may. I have a real problem with anybody calling what they trying to give us reparation. Okay? And I'm going to tell you why. The Bible makes it very clear that the only way we're going to get reparations is by the Most High. So, see, let me tell you something. There's a pattern here. There are some exceptions, but there's a pattern. The false always comes before the truth. The false always comes before the truth. The Most High is going to give us reparations. And so now, guess what? Everybody's calling what these people trying to give us reparation. But these people giving it to us kicking and screaming. But when you read Isaiah chapter 60, you don't read nothing about no kicking and screaming. Hey, oh, when you read Isaiah chapter 60, Jeremiah chapter 30, Jeremiah chapter 33, you don't read nothing about no kicking and screaming. These people are talking about its reparation, and they're kicking and screaming. They're complaining and moaning and griping and y'all, we need to stop calling this reparation. And I want to tell you why. If the Most High is telling us that the only person that can repair, oh boy, I'm about to preach. If the Bible clearly tells us that the only person that can repair Israel is the Most High, we shouldn't be looking for our enemies to be our God. Uh-oh, I'm preaching. Oh, because see, if you say that they're the ones that's going to give us our reparation, you're saying by default that they are our God. They are our restorer. They are our redeemer. They are our savior. No, no, no. The only person that can repair Israel is the Most High. The only person. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to express to you the pendulum effect of us ideologically fastening the word reparation to what they're going to give us. What they're going to give us, y'all, is a bandage. What they're going to give us is at best, a pacifier. What they're going to give us is the same thing they've been giving us, a Jedi mind trick. Only the Most High can repair Israel. Concerned mom, I don't think I've ever seen you before. There's a lot of people that feed at this table that I teach from and snack at this table that I teach from, but I never meet them. And it's always a privilege. And so I welcome you, and I'm glad. I praise the Most High so much that the Most High is saving finances in your household. I'm so happy about that. I don't know what to do. I am really humbled and gracious for that. And I'm glad that you found it uh, worthy enough for you to come in here and give a testimony publicly as a testimony to all the other people so they can go look at that teaching too. Because that's what a prophet's supposed to do. A prophet is supposed to put money in your pocket. Come on. The word prophet sounds just like the word prophet sounds just like profit. Prophet. How can you be a prophet and you're not blessing the people? How can you be a real prophet and you're not putting money in their pocket? How? You're not no real prophet. You're a false prophet if you're taking money out the people's pocket and you ain't putting nothing in it. You take all these prophets out here on the radio, on the TV, on the internet, they take money out your pocket, but they don't put no money in your pocket, but they call themselves prophets. I'm not getting it. But everywhere I look in the Bible, guess what I see prophets doing? blessing people, and they don't look for nothing in return. Does that mean they don't supposed to get anything in return? No, but they're not doing it to get. They doing it to give. John 3:16. Yahuwah so loved the world that he gave. Oh boy, I'm preaching now. uh, uh, let me tell you this, concerned mom, and I'm going to, and I'll say this about any channel: eat the meat, spit out the bones. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. The Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, I think somewhere around verse 11 and 12. Let me pull it up. Let me post that scripture. First Corinthians, let's look at 13, somewhere around 10, 11, 12, somewhere up in there. Yeah, verse 12. First Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12. For we know, for now we see through a glass darkly. Okay? The darkly is the bones, y'all. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall be known even as I am also known. Even as also I am known. So we see out of a glass darkly. Now, I might as well put the 14 up here too. 13. And I know that a lot of my subscribers, a lot of them can't catch me live for whatever reason. There's a billion reasons why people can't catch you live. Because there's some programs that I've never been able to catch live, but I wanted to. And now abide faith, hope, and charity. These three, but the greatest of these is charity. So the leaders of Israel, like the Bible tells us, the apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, and evangelists, if the greatest of these are charity, and the greatest gifts and offices among Israel are apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, and evangelists, these fivefold ministers should show a greater example of what charity is. Because the Bible, what the Bible tells us, 1 Corinthians chapter 11, hold on a second. Or is it 12? Yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter 12. Just a moment. Let's see here. Let's go to Ephesians 4:10. Yeah, Ephesians 4:11. I'm gonna post 11 and 12. And don't worry, I'm going to get to the title of the room. I'm taking my time, but I'm going to get to the title of the room. Just take it easy. All this stuff is going to dovetail right together. You know, I know they look like they're not really associated to each other, but just take it easy. Take a deep breath. It's going to happen. So in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11, the Bible tells us, and he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers. Okay, those are uh five different offices. Perfect for why did he give that? Because Israel can't be perfect without this. Now, I know we think Israelites can be perfect just by studying the Bible. No, that's not what the Bible says. No. You're not, the nation of Israel is not going to be perfect by studying a book outside of the apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, and evangelists. They're not. I mean, think about it. How was Israel in the Levitical period going to be perfect without Moses? Huh? How? It took Moses to go up to the Mount Sinai to even get the Torah. So how could Israel get perfect without Moses? Huh? How could they even get on the path of perfection without Moses? You stop it, y'all. I know men are wicked today. But y'all, this is the agency that the Most High is set up. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11 and 12 says, verse 12 says, for the perfecting of the saints. So saints cannot become perfect. And the saints are the Israelites. Israelites can't be perfect without no apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, and evangelists just because they go to Barnes and Nobles and buy a Bible. Are you crazy? For the perfecting of the saints. What is Ephesians 4:12 telling us? Is it telling us that the nation of Israel can become perfect? Or is it saying that we can't become perfect? The verse is really clear. For the perfecting of the saints. How do the saints get perfect? Ephesians 4:11. And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints. Not the imperfection of the saints. It says the perfecting of the saints. And notice the word that's being used is perfecting. It's a process. It's a process. They're on the path of perfection. For the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Yehoshua. This scripture is telling us that the body of Yehoshua cannot even be edified without apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, and evangelists. Hey, y'all, I'm not here to argue with you. Accept it, reject it, that's fine. The Bible says, let every man be persuaded in his own mind. The Most High used you to bless our home and the homes we shared your teaching to. I am not going to interrupt you anymore. Just so grateful, sir. Shalom. Hey, that's what it's about, concern, Mom. We need more concerned moms that's concerned about the will of the Most High. And let me tell you something, concerned mom. The Most High is going to bless your family. Now that you know how to tithe off your increase, and I'm going to break that down real quick. The way you tithe off your increase is after you pay all your bills. Necessary bills, not stupid stuff, not cigarettes, not HBO and your Netflix subscription. No, after you pay all your necessary bills, whatever you have left over, that's your increase. That's what the Bible teaches. I know what the devil taught us in Baptist Sunday school. I know the devil taught us you tithe off the top. Satan is going to tell you to tithe off the top. And when Satan says tithe off the top, he says, soon as you get it in your hands, before you pay your light bill, gas bill, anything, you give the devil everything. That's not what the Most High taught. The Most High didn't even teach that in the Garden of Eden. How was Adam going to pay tithes off of everything in creation? Huh? Huh? How was how was how was how was Adam going to return a tithe off everything in creation? It's no way, y'all. That's just ridiculous. Off the top. If we supposed to pay tithe off the top, why don't we see Adam doing that? he Adam would still be paying tithes today. Let me tell you something. The Most High loves us. He gave Adam the world for his enjoyment. He only asked Adam to give a tithe or an offering off of that which he used. The Most High has given us so much, we can't even give him 10% of everything that we that sustains us. We can't. How do you give 10% of the air you breathe? Oh boy. Huh? How do you get 10% of the sleep that you get? There are certain things that you can't return a tithe on. The Most High understands that. But the devil is very oppressive, and he's going to try to wring out of you every little dime you got. And that's what they did in the Christian church. And that's what they do among Hebrew Israelites. Why don't Hebrew Israelites teach that the increase is that after you paid, taking care of all your necessary things? That's why the Most High says, I'll supply all your riches all your needs according to my riches in glory. But instead, these people are telling you, you tithe off the gross. Soon as you get it. Somebody loans you $200. Somebody loans you $200 to start a business. You make $50 in profit to start the business. After you start the business, you get $50 in profit. You pay them back $25. You got $25 left. Guess what the Christian church tells you? They tell you to pay tithe off of $250. Hey, y'all, that's stupid. The $200 that was loaned to you, it was loaned to you just to start the business. That's not an increase. That's the debt. That's something you owe. That's not an increase. How is that an increase? Somebody loan you $200 to start the business. You have an angel investor that gives you $200 to start a business. You make $50 in profits. You pay them $25. Now, let me change the scenario. They loan you $250 to start the business. You sell $250 worth of profit. So again, they loan you $200. You make $250 and you pay them back their $200. But guess what? After you pay them their $200, guess what? You still got living expenses. You still not out the hole. Guess what? You still in the hole. But guess what the church tells you? The church tells you, because you sold $250, you sold $250 worth of profit. Guess what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to pay tithe on that. If that don't sound like Satanism and witchcraft, I don't know what does, y'all. If somebody loans you $1,000 to start a business, and you sell $1,500 a product, you pay them back their $1,000. Why in the world would you pay tithe on something that you owed somebody else? And you're gonna call that tithing? That's a counterfeit form of tithing, y'all. That's not biblical. That's called oppression. That's called witchcraft. That's called keeping black people in the poorhouse. And I'm not really concerned that it's happening to other nationalities. I'm more concerned about it happening to us, the people at the bottom, the people that have the hardest time. No matter what field we go into, we have the hardest time. But the black church tells you that, yeah, you got to pay tithes on 1,500, but $1,000 was loaned to you, and you only really made $50 in profit. And of the $50 in profit, you got to take 25 of those dollars and you got to spend it on living expenses. So after you pay that, you got $25 increase. Think about that, y'all. Somebody has duped you into paying 1,500. Somebody has duped you into tithing on 1,500 when you're really supposed to be tithing on $25. Huh? And then on top of that, they take your money and they go put it in the bank with our enemies. They put it in the bank of our enemies who won't even give you a home loan or a business loan. Black pastors do this. And you wonder why that there's economic depression in the black community. It's not because of the foreign businesses. It's because of the black churches. There are way more black churches in your community sucking money out of your community and giving it to your enemy than there are Chinese stores taking money out of your pocket. Hello. Go to any ghetto and count the number of black churches. They're going to far outnumber any foreign businesses combined. Oh, I'm preaching now. Now I'm preaching. So we always looking at the Chinese stores and the Asian stores and the Korean stores. Am I saying that they are not a problem? No, I'm not saying they are not a problem, but they're not our first problem. Our first problem are these black churches. The black churches is a black hole for sucking economic wealth out of the black community and putting it directly in the hands of white banks. They're not putting it in Chinese banks. These black pastors ain't putting it in Asian banks, Korean banks, Muslim banks. They're putting our money into white banks, and our money in white banks supplies economic infrastructure for white communities, while the banks and federal government is redlining black communities. So I know everybody want to focus on the Chinese business, the Asian nail shops, and all that kind of stuff. But if you count the number of black churches in any ghetto, they're going to far outnumber the amount of Chinese businesses and foreign businesses in our community. There's not even a comparison, y'all. And so that's what brings me to tonight's topic. Methods of economic warfare that we aid our enemies in containing us. It should say containing us. We wonder why we poor. We wonder why we poor, and there's a black church on every corner taking your money to white banks. And you wonder, we still scratching our head in 2019, wondering why our communities are so poor. Well, if you take your money and give it to the devil, and then he shelters the money from your community, yeah, your community gonna look like ours be looking. And the greatest enemy we have in the black community is the black preacher. We're funding our own oppression. And I want to give y'all some information concerning this book that I've been reading. And this book that I've been reading, I ordered it off the internet. It's called Freeman's Philanthropy and Fraud. Okay? I'm going to read an expert excerpt to you from this book. See? Because I've always been real curious and suspicious about the relationship of black people and banks. I've always been curious and suspicious about it. Even as a Christian, even as a teenager, I used to always be suspicious about the relationship of black people and banks. Because I look at the way that black people pride themselves, that they have money in the bank. They always talk about their bank account. They rap about their bank account. They rap about their investments, investing in the stock market and all this stuff. I never understood it because I never was educated. But I'm reading this book here called Freeman, Philanthropy, and Fraud. And I'm going to read an excerpt from you. I'm not going to be long. I'm not going to read the whole book and bore you to death. But I want to show you something. Because I notice no matter how religious people get, I'm talking about our people, no matter how religious our people get, they always, no matter how militant they get, guess what they're going to still do? They're going to always take their money and put it in white banks. Always. NAACP, Black Panthers, Hebrew Israelites, Baptists, Pentecostal, whoever. They're going to take their money and put it right in the bank. And this is just so stupid to me. Nation of Islam, yeah. 5%ers, yeah. They're going to always take their money and put it in the bank. And I'm like, I don't understand the military feasibility of taking your money and putting it in your enemy's bank. I don't understand that. I've never understood it. I'm not financially illiterate enough to be able to understand all the nuances. But one thing I am intelligent enough to know, that's stupid. Your enemy is able to monitor everything you do when you take your money and put it in their hands. Well, praise the Most High. Praise the Most High, concern, Mom. I'm happy for your family. And I just hold you up in prayer. I really do. For your continued seeking after the Most High, whether it's this channel or another channel. It don't matter. Now I'm reading from you on this book. I think I'm gonna I don't want to bore y'all. I don't want to bore y'all. So I'm going to try to read some of the most pertinent information here because there's a lot of names here. And like I said, that this is a thesis. This is a PhD thesis that a gentleman put out, and they put it in the form of a book. But I'm just going to read. I'm just going to let the Ruach lead. I know some people can't take this kind of stuff, you know. But I'm going to do the best I can to communicate it to you. Now, I want you to listen to this very carefully, y'all. Amos McFall, Lot Proctor, Joseph M. Gibbs, Maria Washington, and Hannah Clifton were among the depositors of the Savannah branch of the Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company. Now, the Freedmen's Saving and Trust Company was a bank that they set up for people that were slaves after 1865. I want to tell you right away what's so suspicious about this to me. Listen to this. A group of people that y'all didn't pay for over 200 years. As soon as slavery is over, y'all set up a Freedmen's Bank for them. So think about this, y'all. They didn't want to pay you. They didn't want to pay you as slaves. But soon as slavery is over, they set up this beautiful institution for you called the Freedmen's Savings and Loan. Not Savings and Loan. Pardon me. The Freedmen's Saving and Trust Company. Listen to what it's called, y'all. It's called Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company. Who are we trusting? Hello? Who are we trusting? The same people that slaved us. Listen to what the name of the bank was called, y'all. The Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company. Born and raised in Georgetown, South Carolina, Amos Farrell McPhail worked as a carpenter in Savannah to support his wife and 3 children. By 1874, he had deposited at least 140 in the bank. Listen to this, y'all. This guy was a former slave. You know how much money $140 was back in 1865? You know how much money that was, y'all? That was probably equal to like $10,000 today. And guess who you give it to? You give it to a people that slaved you. You give it to a government and you trust them with it. They called it the Freedmen's Savings and Trust. It's almost like they're saying in the title of what they call this bank, we freed you, now trust us. We freed you, now give us your money. We know we didn't pay you while you were slaves, but now that we freed you and made you freed men, now trust us. Y'all, do that make any sense, y'all? Do that make any sense? Why would you trust somebody who never paid you? Why would you trust somebody who never paid you? And look at it. This bank, this Freedmen's Bank, the people that deposited money in it who were ex-slaves, they couldn't even get loans. The Freedmen's Savings and Trust didn't even grant loans. So what was they doing? They were hoarding your money. And you voluntarily deposited your money in the bank. Now, let me say, is anything different happening today? No. Black people go run straight to the bank. Black people look at it as a status symbol to be able to put their money in their enemies' hands. And when I say enemies' hands, y'all, I mean their enemies' economy. Black people are satisfied putting their money into white communities. How do we know that black people love putting their money in white communities? Because they take it and deposit it in the bank. Hello. If you're taking the money and putting it and deposit it in your enemy's bank, you're essentially paying for their school education, their home loans, their business loans. We're building up their churches. We're granting them car loans. They're not doing it for us. And that's a status symbol for black people today. Guess what, y'all? You know where that all happened at? You know where all that began with? With the Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company. That's where we get that mentality from those newly freed slaves. And guess what? By the mere fact, boy, I could just preach on this. By the mere fact that our people, right after slavery, y'all, took their money and put it into their enemies' hands. And on top of that, the enemy, even back then, didn't even grant loans to us. It showed that we were looking to our oppressors to repair us with a banking system that was really designed to build up their communities, their lives, their homes, their education. Hey, y'all, this happened in 1865, 66. And guess what? Black people still think the same way today. As a matter of fact, the richer a black person is, the more self esteem they have in building up the oppressor by having their money in their oppressor's banks. Y'all, we're not getting free. If our people get reparations, hey y'all, if our people ever get reparations, y'all, we already doomed. That's one reason why I don't want to call it no reparations. What they gonna give us, I don't want to call it reparation. Because the Bible says the most high loves a cheerful giver. They're not cheerfully giving to us. They're not cheerfully trying to seek our good. And I want to tell you how I know that. They already know that if they gave every black person $300,000, it's going to end up in a white bank or a so-called black bank, which is really a white bank in disguise. All this black bank stuff, y'all, leave that stuff alone. It ain't no such thing as no black bank. Hello, there's no such thing as a black bank. Ask Dr. Claude Anderson. Ask Dr. Claude Anderson about the black bank that he robbed. And they got a lawsuit out for him. Y'all, there's no such thing as no black bank, y'all. How is there such thing as a black bank, but all the money got white faces on it? Ah, how is there such thing as a black bank, but all the money got white faces on it? Come on, y'all. Let's keep it real. Stop all this fantasy island stuff. We got a black bank, but all the money got white faces on it. Even the coinage, the nickels, the dimes, the quarters, everything got black faces, white faces on it. But we call it a black bank. No, it's not a black bank. Stop it. All the Federal Reserves are owned by white people. All the Federal Reserves are private institutions owned by white folk. So don't tell me about no black bank. That's just another Jedi mind trick that I call nigger babble. There's a white. Show me a black bank. I just want to know. Show me one Federal Reserve in the world that's white. I want to show. I want to see it. If you can't show me that, you can't show me. If you can't show me a black place where gold is stored, you can't show me no black bank. And it's protected by a black military. You can't show me no black bank. Okay? So don't talk to me about banking black and all this stuff. All this little fantasy talk. You know, I know we are gullible people. I get it. We're very, very gullible. All somebody have to do is put black in front of something that's really white, and we're gonna believe it's black. Just stop all of that. Just please, really. I mean, come on, y'all. But anyway, I'm continuing with the book. So the Freedmen's Saving and Trust Company, born and raised in Georgetown, South Carolina, Amos Farwell worked as a carpenter in Savannah to support his wife and 3 children. By 1874, he had deposited at least $140 in the bank. Now that's $140 that he wasn't investing in his family. Listen to that, y'all. That's $140 that he wasn't even investing in his own family, which in today's economy would be equal to somewhere around $5,000 to $10,000. Exactly. Yeah, you're right, CG. Because why didn't Frederick Douglass? Frederick Douglass end up being the president of the Freedmen's Saving and Trust Company. You don't see nowhere where he was blowing the whistle, exposing the bank like you see me exposing right now. And Frederick Douglass was way more intelligent than I am. By 1974, he had deposited at least $140 in the bank. Lot Proctor, an illiterate 57-year-old black railroad worker born and raised in Cafton, South Carolina, saved $109. A sizable sum which could serve as security for his wife and child in case of his death. So, y'all, $109 back in 1874, y'all, that was a huge amount of money for a black person. That was like having about $5,000, $10,000. I'll say about $10,000. But instead, this man is taking this money and saving it, putting it in his enemy's economy instead of into his family. He should have just kept that money at home. He should have been using that money. But the only people that he could trust his money with were white people. A sizable sum which could serve as a security for his wife and children in case of his death. 6-year-old Joe Gibbs attended high school, and one can imagine how he must have saved to become the proud possessor of a bank book and $2.85. So this person that was going to school, they saved $2.85 and was proud of that. This is a child who comes from a line of slaves, and they were proud to have their money in the hands of white people in a bank. Y'all, nothing has changed since slavery. With all the Bible talk that we have, all the Bible studies we still have a lot of the slave pathology coursing through our minds. The happiest thing that a black person could have is a whole bunch of money in white people's hands via way of a bank account, a savings account. My God. And let me tell you something. Some of the people that you see on the internet talking the most about Esau, they probably got the most money in Esau's bank, especially when it comes to a camp. The largest camps on YouTube, I bet you they got the bulk of their money in white folks' hands. And that's the only place on earth they feel is safe. So uh the widow Maria Washington came to Savannah from Beaufort to found work as cook in the Savannah poorhouse, accumulated accumulating in the bank the sum of 43 cents, and 38 a 38-year-old widow, Hannah Clifton, engaged in planting at White Bluff and was able to deposit $6. Why did Amos McPhail, Maria Washington, and the other place their hard-earned money in the Savannah branch? Was banking there personally convenient? Were they attracted by promises of interest in their savings? Or were they demonstrating the most positive way possible their support of an institution that was seeking to help their race? Please help their race. So the people that slaved you now trying to help you. Okay, all right, whatever. Did they save because social pressure encouraged thrift? Or was it by a home, or was it to buy a home or a few acres of land, or to provide against illness? No one can say exactly what these particular depositors had in mind. But surely the thousands of Lot Proctors and Hannah Cliftons who answered the call of the bank leaders, the white and black cashiers, the Negro Advisory Board, and the Negro ministers. Look, y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? Y'all see who the suspects are in this whole cabal? Listen to it again. No one can exactly say what these particular depositors had in mind, but surely the thousands of Lot Proctors, which was one of the depositors, and Hannah Cliftons, who answered the call of the bank's leaders, is gonna identify who the bank leaders are, y'all. Listen, the first bank leader is who? Guess who? White mommy, white daddy. The white and the black cashiers. See, the Negro advisory boards, the Boule, Okay, let's just put it out there, y'all. Let's stop all this pussyfooting. It's the Boule, the Negro Advisory Board, and the Negro Ministers. This is why white banks have a stranglehold on black communities. It's a lot of Negro Israelites sleeping in bed with white mommy, white daddy. And one of them are ministers, Negro advisory boards, and black cashiers. Who would be the black cashiers to get? The black economic leaders today. Like what's his name? John Claude Anderson. Yeah, those people. Those people like that. Listen to this, y'all. The bank and its beneficents, but the bank and its beneficent purposes. Listen to this, y'all. Beneficent. No matter what the depositor's private reason may have been, the freedmen's as a group must have come to believe, like most Americans, that industry and thrift were sure ways to advancement. How far have we advanced? We haven't advanced nowhere, y'all. Even though we've had savings accounts, it hasn't never helped our community, but it has helped our enemies' communities. People trying to shame you into having a savings account in their bank to show that you're responsible with money and you're fiscally savvy. That's just a little Jedi mind trick to get your money out of your pocket and into theirs. They don't care nothing about you being thrifty. They don't want you to have an economic base so you can pool your own money without their watchful eye. People talk about the Illuminati, but then they go take their money and put it in some enemy's bank. That's the most easiest way for your enemy to watch you, by you taking your money and depositing it in that bank. They know every move you're going to make. But anyway, I'm not going to keep y'all. Uh-oh. Hold on a second. Let me see what's going on here. Okay. So I think I'm going to stop right there. But tonight, I gave y'all a lot to think about. I gave you a lot to pray about. And I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And as you prosper, don't forget about the prophet. Don't forget about the prophet. I'm not asking for 10%. I'm not asking for you to open up a savings account with me. All I'm asking you is don't forget about me. Okay? As the most high prophet you, think about the prophet. The most high says, give, and it shall be given unto you. In good measure, pressed down, shaken together, shall men give unto your bosom. Okay? So I'm gonna get out of here real quick. I don't know how many of y'all still up in here. Because it don't look like nobody's saying nothing. Let me see what. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Just want y'all to think about that. Think about that very, very carefully. Think about that very carefully, y'all. Uh, I just read y'all a few little paragraphs out of the book that I was reading. And it's like when I read that book, it's like the Most High is prophetically opening my eye to see the wider scheme and deception that's going on, not just with white people, but especially with black people. Oh, absolutely. I remember at one time in my life, I remember at one time in my life, I had about, I think about $90,000 in the bank. And I'm going to tell you something. I did not like the hassle I would go through when I had to make a withdrawal. It was just, it was just crazy the stuff I was going through just to make a withdrawal. When I wanted to transfer money, I had a big hard time. It was just a lot of red tape. I'm like, damn, ain't this my money? I don't mean to, use foul language, but I was like, wait a minute now. This is crazy. Y'all act like y'all acted like I'm asking for y'all money. When you have more than like 10,000, $20,000 in the bank, they really do be acting like it's their money. And I want to tell you something, y'all. These banks can give you a hard time when you got a lot of money in their bank. And when I say a lot of money, that's relative. Okay. But just remember that. But we're going to talk about this again. We need to stop. We need to stop aiding our enemies in containing us economically. I noticed that you got all these people that's supposed to be black talking heads, and they got podcasts and YouTube channels. But why none of them talking about get your money out the bank? Why? Why you got people like Ta-Nehisi Coates and Tariq Nasheed and Jason Black and Black Authority, and they're not telling you to take your money out of the bank? They're telling you not to vote. They're telling you not to vote. Why is Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore and these type of people? They're telling us not to vote, but they're not telling us to take our money out of the banks. That's suspicious to me. That's suspicious to me. We've had our money in their banks longer than we had the right to vote. Hello. Way before we had the right to vote, we had our money in their banks. But you don't hear none of these super intelligent people, and I will give them props for being intelligent. They way more smarter than me. But why they not smart enough to know that we shouldn't have our money in their banks? Huh? Huh, Yvette Carnell? Huh, Antonio Moore? Huh, Tariq Nasheed? Huh, Jason Black? Huh, Black Authority? Huh, Tamakasi Coates? Huh? Sandy Darity? What? You got all these black people. Huh? Jesse Jackson? Al Sharpton? Louis Farrakhan? All these people talking this hard black rhetoric, but nobody's telling us to take our money out of these white folk bank. Huh? I just want to know. I'm not an intelligent guy. None of the people that I just mentioned, I don't have a iota of the intelligence that they have. But one thing I do know, it's stupid to put your money in your enemy's bank. I didn't even, I don't even have to be as intelligent they are. Why? Why is Louis Farrakhan? He talk all this hot fire nigga talk, but you never heard Louis Farrakhan say, "Take your money out of white folks' banks." You never heard him that, and I want to tell you why you ain't never heard him say that. Cause all his money is in white folks' banks, and they call themselves the Nation of Islam. What kind of nation are you? And you don't even have control over your own money. You got it in white folks' banks, building up white folks' communities. Hello, hello. See, Louis Farrakhan is a sellout, y'all. If for no other reason, why does Louis Farrakhan have the Nation of Islam's money in white banks? Huh? Huh, y'all? Do that make sense to you? Does that make sense to you? And you always hear Farrakhan talking about the Bilderbergers and the Jews, the blood sucking Jews, but he got his money in the blood sucking Jews bank. Huh? Do that make any sense, y'all? Y'all, these are not real black leaders, y'all. These are not real Israelite leaders, y'all. These are devils. They play an integral part of the matrix of slavery that we're still in. Louis Farrakhan is an agent calling themselves the Nation of Islam, but all their money is in a Jewish bank. Please. The devil is a liar. I think that's the reason. I think that's the reason why Louis Farrakhan is able to spit that fiery rhetoric and not get killed. The trade-off for Louis Farrakhan spitting all that fiery rhetoric about white people and Jewish people is because he actually has his money in their banks. And they say, okay, nigga, as long as you got your money in our bank, you can say whatever you wanted to say about us. But you take this money out this bank and start encouraging your people to take money out this bank, I'm going to put a bullet in your head. Okay? Okay? Follow the money, y'all. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. Let me tell you something. If black people get reparations with the type of money and mindset that they have today, it's going to be greater benefit to white communities than it is to us. Hello. I just said something there. I just prophesied right there. If our people get what they call reparations given to them, it's going to benefit our enemies way more than it's going to benefit us. Because the first thing we're going to do is open up a bank account. Hello, hello, hello. First thing we're going to do is open up a bank account because the only person that we can trust with our wealth, our treasures, is our enemies. Let me tell you something, y'all. Our people are so broken and so possessed by the devil, we're not going to even feel safe holding on to our own money. We're not going to feel safe. We're not going to feel it's safe until it's in white hands via way of the bank. That's the proof and evidence that we are still suffering chronically from Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome. Well, I don't have no problem with who lives with you, but the Bible says where your treasures are. That's where your heart is. Where your treasures are, that's where your heart is. So, so yeah, it's sad that our people, we don't even feel comfortable holding on to our hard-earned cash. When our money is directly deposited into the bank, we just let it sit there. We don't immediately go and grab it and snatch it out and leave like a little bit in the bank just to have a bank account, just to be able to do transactions. No, we got to leave it all in there out of pride to make white mommy and white daddy feel that we good little kids and they could pat us on the head because we know how to save money and build up their community with our savings. So we don't have no black leaders, y'all. We don't have no black leaders. I don't care if they Hebrew Israelites. I don't care if they Muslims, 5%ers, Egyptologists. They all the same, y'all. And I'm gonna prove they all the same. Where's their money? Uh-oh. Where's their money? Where are their treasures? In the same place. All that black talk, all that strong black talk and all this. No, no. If I have some money, y'all, I'm going to put it in my children's hands. I'm going to put it in my wife's hands. I'm going to put it in my son's hands. Or I'm going to put it into a business. I'm not going to have the majority of my money, the vast majority of my money, in some white people's bank. I'm going to share my money with other black people, other black families, other Israelite businesses. That's what I'm going to do. It's not going to just be with black people. No, I want to be with Israelites who serve the Most High. Those are the people I want to invest in. Yeah, they all agents. They all agents. And the bigger they are, the more of the bigger the agent they are. I'm convinced of that. Why is nobody talking against the banks? Why is nobody speaking against these banks? You don't have pastors speaking against the banks. You don't have politicians speaking against the banks. You don't have you don't have black power people, Egyptologists speaking against the bank. Why nobody speaks against the bank? All black people want to talk about is if Cleopatra was white or black. Meanwhile, we got all our money in their bank. Who the hell cares if Cleopatra was black or white? I don't give a damn. Where's the money? That's where I want to say, can we trust black banks? Hell no. It ain't no such thing as no black bank. The only black bank we have is in the Bible. Is our own people, our families, our wives, our children, our entrepreneurial pursuits that we collaborate on. That's our black bank. Look at Acts chapter 4, verse 34. Let me just post that scripture and I'm gonna get out of here. Let's go to the book of Acts. Acts chapter 4. I'm gonna show you our what ain't no black banks. CEOs are white VIP. Yeah, there's no real black banks, y'all. There's no real black banks when it comes to the world. There are no black banks. All the Federal Reserves are private institutions owned by Caucasian people. So you're not going to have no real functional idea of what a black bank is. That's a farce. A black bank is a Jedi mind trick, y'all. Let's just stop this crazy stuff. The Bible tells us what our bank is. The Bible tells us this is our black bank. All this black bank talk was just a scam anyway. Yeah. But for some people, CG, common sense ain't that common. I understand, Mercy. I understand. But Mercy, you cannot let your emotions get ahead of common sense and history and data. You can't do that. I know what you mean. Black banks are a weapon of Satan. You really need to do some research about Dr. Claude Anderson and the lawsuit he's going to through with a black bank. He actually robbed a black bank, and everybody's still, you know, holding on to this man like he's the Holy Grail. This fake black bank that he robbed, you ought to see that the confusion and trouble that he put them in. And there's no such thing as no real black bank. I'm going to tell you that right now. When all the Federal Reserves are all white owned private institutions, it's just ridiculous. A black bank is tantamount to having a a slave working on the field. That's what a black bank is, y'all. The plantation is owned by massa, white mommy, white daddy. Okay? Just because you got a black person working the field don't mean you have a black bank. Okay? How you gonna have a black bank and all the money got white faces on it? Yeah, credit is just symbolic cash. That's all it is. Credit is just symbolic cash anyway. So it's six and one, half a dozen the other, whatever. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let y'all go. But I, I would like to carry this conversation on. And I think I would like to have a part two to this because it's a lot more deeper facets and aspects of this that I would love to address that you're just not hearing no black leaders, these so-called little black little puppets talk about. Y'all gonna have a black military power, but all y'all money in the black bank, in a white bank. Man, please, if you don't sit your boy, you need to sit yourself down. The Nation of Islam, but all their money is in black white banks. You never heard a sermon. All the stuff that Farrakhan knows about the Jewish leaders and banking and all that, and the Federal Reserve. He know all this stuff about the Federal Reserve, but all his people putting their money in white banks. See, that's a hypocrite, y'all. That's a hypocrite. And you know, I don't know about this. People stealing black people blind right in front of them. Exactly. Exactly, CG. We're actually taking our money, CG, and giving it to the thieves by depositing our money in their bank. And then we complain about our community being redlined. Well, idiot, you took your money and gave it to a thief. Of course they're going to redline you. That's what they're supposed to do. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. This is Prophet Row A, not B, family prophet to the angel of the church of the Laodiceans who are Israelite. You all take it easy and have a wonderful evening. And yeah, I think I want to continue a part two of this uh, and get deeper into this book that I'm reading and give y'all a good breakdown. Yeah, there are a lot of layers to unravel. And the thing about it, mercy, is that we are not educating our children. The generations that are coming behind us are not another layer of protection for us. We as parents are making our children another level of vulnerability. And this is what's terrible. We're not coming out with each succeeding generation. We're getting deeper and deeper and deeper in it. And so all this Bible talk and all this black talk and all this scripture talk ain't doing us no good. It ain't doing us no good. We learning more about the Most High, but more of our money is still in the. We learning more about the Most High. We studying the Bible more. We learning that we're Israelite, but more of our money is still in our enemy's hand. How much is this Bible knowledge really helping us if more of our money is in our enemy's hands and we trust it to be in their hands? We think it's the only place it really should be. And if it's not in our enemy's hands, we think that that's blasphemy. Well, our children are watching us. But anyway, I'm out of here. Shalom.